Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at a fascinating concept, the regenerative city blueprint for a project called the Shale Oasis.
Right.
And the mission here is to understand how they're aiming for, well, absolute water independence and a closed-loop economy, getting away from that typical take, make, waste model we see everywhere.
And it's a huge challenge. I mean, the location itself is incredibly arid, dry. So the sources we looked at are really clear. They must use seawater exclusively, tapping into local groundwater, just not sustainable there. It would be an ecological disaster.
Okay, so seawater it is, which means desalination, but they need every drop, right?
Exactly. So the strategy starts with large-scale seawater reverse osmosis, SWRO, but then, and this is key, they mandate zero liquid discharge technologies, ZLD.
ZLD, and that pushes the water recovery way, way up.
Towards 100%. I mean, compare that to standard SWRO, which might only get you, what, 40 to 60% recovery on a good day.
Difference, but there's always a but. ZLD sounds expensive.
Oh, it is. That's the massive barrier. The energy burden is substantial. We saw those numbers. Thermal ZLD can demand up to 70 kilowatt hours per cubic meter.
70, wow. And that translates to
Really high operational cost, potentially hitting, over $26 per cubic meter of water.
Okay, hold on. If water costs that much, doesn't the whole economic model just fall apart instantly?
It absolutely would.
Yeah.
If you only look at water cost versus energy input. That's the dead end.
So there has to be a twist.
There is. The paradigm shift, the sort of aha moment here, is managing this water, energy, mineral nexus all together as one single utility.
Meaning
That super concentrated brine, the waste stream from ZLD, they can't just dump it. They have to use it. It's calling it brine mining.
brine mining. Okay, so turning waste into a resource. What are they mining?
Critical minerals,
Right.
primarily. Things like lithium, magnesium, valuable stuff. Plus, generating green hydrogen on the side.
Ah, okay. And the revenue from that.
Exactly. That revenue directly subsidizes the crazy high cost of the ZLD. It brings the overall levelized cost of water down to something financially viable. That's the plan, anyway.
Clever. So the economics depend on the minerals. What about the ecology, the footprint? They mentioned desert greening.
Yes, afforestation, planting trees, green spaces, crucial for making it a livable city, not just a concrete slab in the desert.
But they can't use precious water for that, surely.
Absolutely not. That greening has to rely only on reclaimed water and treated effluent, wastewater. If they used any other water source, those new trees would just act like giant straws, biological water pumps, sucking up any limited natural water that might exist.
Right. So closing the loop again, where do the nutrients for the trees come from?
Biosolids, basically treated sewage sludge. It sounds unpleasant, but it provides essential nitrogen, phosphorus, organic matter. Really good for the soil. And the research suggests these benefits can last over 10 years.
Okay. Using everything. But processing sewage sludge points to population? There must be a limit, right?
That is the ultimate constraint. You hit it exactly. The city's maximum size, its scale, is fundamentally limited by how much organic waste it can safely process and assimilate back into the land.
How much land are we talking about?
Well, the planning figures suggest a city generating about 10 dry tons of biosolids per day needs roughly 700 acres. Think Central Park in New York, roughly that size.
700 acres dedicated just to handling the results of the population.
Dedicated land, yes. They call it the Oasis hinterland. And it needs to be permanently secured, managed like a utility. It's the core KPI, the key performance indicator, dictating the maximum sustainable population. That land area is the ceiling.
So you have this tightly integrated economic and ecological machine. What about governing it? It sounds complex.
It is. And that's a huge risk. Regulatory fragmentation could kill the whole project. Imagine environmental regulators calling the ZLD solids hazardous waste.
Well, the business side is trying to sell the lithium from those solids.
Exactly. Total conflict. It breaks the model.
So the solution?
You need a single, powerful governance body. One authority that can legally redefine waste the brine, the biosolids as valuable resources, and mandate their reuse. Critically, this policy clarity, this legal certainty, has to be locked in before they pour the concrete, before the big infrastructure investment.
Makes sense. Otherwise, the risk is too high.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. For you listening, what's the takeaway? The Shale Oasis project seems to hang on two really critical dependencies, these closed loops.
That's right. First, economic viability that depends entirely on the brine mining revenue paying for the high energy costs of getting clean water.
And second, ecological viability, which relies on having that dedicated oasis hinterland to safely recycle the city's organic waste back into the soil.
Two loops that have to stay closed.
So here's the thought to leave you with. If the real sustainable scale of a modern city isn't just about how much water or power it can access, but is actually limited by the amount of land needed to safely absorb the sewage its people create, well, how many of our current megacities globally might already be operating way beyond their true ecological carrying capacity? Something to consider.